What's going on, everybody? Ibrahim, Nwagui Corporate Dropout University, and this is another episode of the check-in, where we check in with our favorite hustlers, entrepreneurs, and influencers to see how they are doing. We love to check in with the people who generally do the check-in, and we got another great conversation lined up. I'm sure of it. I got a good feeling about it. And so without further ado, I'm going to let this gentleman introduce himself and introduce his brand, and we're going to get into it from there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What up, y'all? My name is Zob Hanfield, better known as the Plant-Based Brother. And I have been on a health and plant-based journey for over 20 years. It started when I was a child, and through the yearn for entrepreneurship and wanting to help my people and just sheer interest, I started the Plant-Based Brother, and it's been a beautiful journey ever since. I'm from the greatest place on earth, Miami, Florida. I'm an extrovert. I am an intentional man, and I'd like to have fun. So I am excited about this podcast, the Corporate Dropout. Let's go. Let's get it.
I like that description, bro. Intentional man. I like that. I like that. We're gonna get
unpack that a little later.
Yeah. We're gonna unpack that because I love that statement. Okay, so like I said before, and people who follow me, they know that this is always my leading question. It's a very simple question, but I think that it's important that we ask it and then step back and allow people to actually answer it. And that question is, sir, everything that is going on in this world at this current time, how are you doing?
How am I doing? I am doing pretty good, pretty well, pretty swell. And I'm able to say that because I recognize with everything going on, pandemic aside, just being human beings with like lives and jobs and families and careers and things that we want to do and trauma, right? I'm able to recognize that like, like I literally have to take it day by day by day. And I'm talking about just life and experiences and just my interactions and my journey. You know what I mean? If I try to jump to 2 weeks from now, I might get a little bit anxious. If I'm thinking about the past, those things are cool to recognize, but I definitely can say like right now, I'm doing well. Things are going well. And I'm not one of those people that are waiting for like something bad to happen. Like, nah, I'm literally taking it day by day, and I'm trying to pivot, and I'm trying to kind of move as life knocks me down, and as things happen. You got to be able to be limber and be flexible, and so I can say right now in this moment, I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
There's a lot of buzzwords in there, man. A lot of my favorite buzzwords are woven into your convo, man.
And so I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it.
Yeah, being limber, being nimble. That's like my favorite. My wife would tell you I always use that word, being able to be nimble. I think it's a gift, especially in these times. And what I found is that generally speaking, we are the types of people, and I'm talking about entrepreneurs, who innately have that quality anyway. So I think that it's like shining right now because generally speaking, if you have a 9 to 5 and that's the way that you think, then you may have a problem with having to go off the beaten path and figure out something on the pivot on the fly. So I think that that's a quality that us as entrepreneurs, like, we all share. And I mean, it's been a common theme throughout these conversations that I've been having, bro. So I want to unpack first and foremost the plant-based brother as an individual and the start of this brand, this idea, this lifestyle that that you created. And I know that you hinted to it. You said that you've been cultivating this thing since you were in your adolescence. So can you kind of speak on the starting point, I guess? Like, where did this come from?
Absolutely. Great question. So When I was 12 years old, I was at church one Sabbath, one Saturday afternoon, and they had a speaker come in, and I remember we watched a documentary, if you will. It wasn't Force Over Knives or What the Hell, one of the popular ones. This was back in like literally the year 2000. So we saw this documentary, and I just remember like thinking, like, man, I did not know they did this type of stuff to animals or whatnot. I was like, I want to try it out. It wasn't cool. It wasn't popular. What 12-year-old black boys you knew wasn't eating chicken, right? All of us were.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to adapt this mindset and diet, if you will, I was 12 years old, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna try it out to see if I like it. And literally 21 years later, I am the plant-based brother. Even if I didn't have a brand or a business, like I would still be a brother who happens to be plant-based. You know what I mean? So it started in that early adolescence, and I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and that's why I'm so honored to even be on the Corporate Dropout podcast show. Excuse me. I'm so excited to be on here because I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know how it was going to look. Was I going to sell things? Was I going to have a product? Was I going to have a specific service? I didn't know. So a documentary did come out around 2017, 2018 called What the Hell? And I just remember like people bombarding my inbox or my text messages like, yo, man, I saw this documentary. I think I want to go vegan. I think I want to incorporate more plant-based options in my diet. I think I want to go vegetarian or what have you. And I just remember like a light went off, like, okay, well, why don't you create something where people, like more people can have access to you or see that it's cool and that there is like an actual community of like Black people who are plant-based or trying to eat a little bit more healthier or trying to get away from certain foods and what have you. And the Plant-Based Brother was born, and it's been a wild ride, man. I've been able to meet a bunch of people, bunch of dope people. Like I have friends on Instagram, I don't even know them, but like those are like my family. We talk all the time. I've been able to travel around the world and just introduce individuals to plant-based options. And yeah, man, and I'm excited for the future. There's a couple of things that I can't really talk about that's on the horizon. I've been able to partner with some really dope brands, and it just all started for me putting myself out there. So taking the first step, realizing, okay, there is a need in the marketplace. What was that need? Well, people want to go vegetarian, vegan, plant-based, whatever. They don't even know what they want to be, but they know that they want to eat less meat. They ascribe me to do that because they know like, oh yeah, Zal doesn't eat meat or he doesn't eat fish, or, by that time I gave up all animal byproducts except honey. So they knew me to be that dude because I'll post stuff on social media. But that's all they knew. And I was like, okay, well, how can I turn this into a thing? And that's kind of how it was born. And it's still going strong. And yeah, man, I'm excited about the future.
Man, I told you that I was going, I knew that this thing was going to grow legs and like go off the course. So when you said that this was like an epiphany around the age of 12, what I'd like to know is like, what was the response with the immediate family? What was the response? Or was there something, was your family always kind of health conscious? Because like my family was like, my mom was always kind of health conscious. And, and then of course, as we grow and we dig into these types of lifestyles, we find out like, okay, certain things like they seem healthy, but they're not healthy, blah, 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 blah. Right. But like, was it fertile for you to have these types of ideas, or was it met with strong resistance?
I look back over my life and I am just so grateful and thankful and blessed that it wasn't met with any opposition, man. My uncle he was a vegetarian around that time. He went to school in Atlanta, like the Muslim culture was really big in Atlanta in the 90s or what have you. And I remember like he was a vegetarian. Like I knew my uncle was a vegetarian. So it wasn't something that was always foreign to me. I'm Seventh-day Adventist. In our religious community, there are a lot of people that did not eat meat. I've never had pork before. I've never had shellfish before. I've never had any quote unquote unclean animal, so to speak. So like I knew people who were vegetarian for a very, very all my life. So I just look back and I am so thankful that my family, I wasn't met with any opposition. They were like, okay, bet. Well, you don't eat meat anymore? Because at that time, I just gave up. I gave up like chicken, steak, lamb. I still ate fish. So you can say I was a pescatarian, a lacto-ovo pescatarian. So I still did eggs, dairy, and fish at that time. But yeah, man, they just, I made extra sides for me, or they found some vegetarian meat or whatnot, even back in those days. And they made reservations for me. They looked out for me. And my mom never said, my grandparents never said, you gonna eat what I cook. Nah, bro, I don't eat that stuff anymore. I've always been the type of dude that marches to the beat of my own drum. So, and they knew that. And, shortly thereafter, like my sister became a vegetarian and other people became vegetarians. So the more people who became vegetarians, my cousins, the more people that became vegetarians or more plant-based, they made even more reservations. So, I mean, there are still people in my immediate family that eat meat, but for the most part, I was not met with any opposition, and they supported me. And
there was no shaming.
No shaming, man. And I'm eternally grateful for them that I didn't have that negative experience.
Yeah, man. Boy, that's so important, bro. Like that literally could have changed the trajectory of your life by just like giving you that opposition. So like I'm hopefully someone sees this who may be in a space where their kid is, exploring a different approach to living.
Yeah.
And they don't immediately shut it down because it's foreign. That's, man, I mean, because look at what it's created. And then on top of that, you doing it introduced it to other people. You're helping other people just from like, that's just shout out to the fam, because
big shout out to
a lot of people don't get that.
I know that they're gonna be watching this a little later. What up, y'all?
Man, shout out to the fam, because I don't know if you will be surprised or not, but I just don't think that that's the norm. A lot of times, especially from our community, the norm is resist if it's foreign. You know what I'm saying? It to our detriment. So, but that's another rabbit hole. Yeah, we could go down another time.
We go down that, man. That's yeah.
Sure. See, you feel them? I told you. But so okay, so let's fast forward. I think you said 2018 was when it became a business for you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Give or take.
Give or take. I feel like 2017, 2018, I was still playing around, but then I was like, nah. I think it was 2018 when I decided to finally release some content. I released my first ebook. And that's when I was just like, okay, bro, you need to get your LLC. You need to make sure that you are doing things decent and in order, and it's making sense. So yeah.
So I recently I've been calling the pandemic or just the year 2020 in general the blip. I don't know if you're familiar with the Marvel movies and stuff, but the blip, right? When basically when Thanos snapped his finger and half the population, whatever. But anyway, so I've been calling 2020 the blip, right? So my question to you is, and we're a year removed, but it's something that we'll never forget. So what I like to ask people is, what were you doing? What was going on with your brand in the days and weeks and maybe months leading up to the blip? And it happens. How did that change what you were doing?
Dun, dun, dun. Wow.
Or if it changed it at all.
I don't feel like it changed a lot, because guess what? Although we were in the blip, aka the panoramic, aka the panini, aka the pandemic, we was in it all. Yeah. We was in it all. Although we were in that space, guess what people still did? They still had to eat. You might have eaten out or gotten takeout or whatnot, but Texas has been open for a very, very long time. So it was a very short window from like when we were just eating food that we prepared ourselves. But it honestly didn't change that much, honestly, because as a food blogger, as a coach, I was still guiding and helping individuals and just seeing what it is that I want to do. 2019, I did entrepreneurship full time. It was a rough time and year, and I ran into so many different walls. I learned a
Yeah.
lot. I was doing meal prep. And in 2020, I decided, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I still had the opportunity to work with various brands and organizations. They still saw me, they still reached out to me. So it honestly didn't change that much, I can honestly say. And I know everybody doesn't have that same testimony, so I'm grateful and I'm thankful, but it didn't change that much. The blip did not change the plant-based brother and what it is that I'm doing too much. I may have had to pivot a little bit better.
Yeah.
It couldn't go to as many restaurants or couldn't eat in as much as I wanted to show individuals like, hey, check out this restaurant, it's amazing. But yeah, it's been pretty nice, man.
So I'll tell you this, man. I pretty much have been doing like my own little personal case study. I ask every single person the same question, that question I just asked you. And I can tell you, you're in like the 99 percentile. Most
Yeah.
people have said that either during that time period, coming out of that, it like catapulted
Yeah.
their business into a new space, or they said what you said, it really didn't slow anything down. There's only like, I can probably count on my one finger, I think, one finger where a person was like, and you got to think about it, it was probably, I think it was a type of service where it required, you to be in a person's space. So
Right.
obviously you're going to have to sit that
Right.
down.
Yeah.
Um,
Put it down.
but other than that, every single person, but I think once again, I don't think that that's, I don't think that I get that response because the 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 spaces that you guys are in is so like pandemic proof. I think that it speaks to the type of mentality of an entrepreneur anyway,
Right.
that
Yeah.
we are always, we're nimble, we're ready to
nimble.
pivot.
You got to pivot. You got to be flexible. You got to see what works. You got to, okay, well, maybe the needs of your customers or your clientele or your followers have changed. Hey,
Yeah,
you still got to keep going.
100%, bro. So you're in the 99 percentile in that answer, man. So I know that you said that you have, a few things that you can talk about and a few things that you can't talk about. So let's focus on the things that you can talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what? And how about we just talk about where you want to be? Where do you see the plant-based brother brand going? Let's just say in the next 2 years, just from this moment. What do you see?
I mean, I definitely see, because the thing is, as an entrepreneur, as like a solo, as a public figure, I don't even like that word, public figure, influencer, whatever you want to call it. The thing is, like, people actually have to buy into me. They have to buy
Yeah,
into me and my personality and who I am and what I stand for. So that's like the first thing. That's like business 101. People have to know, like, trust you. So, so in the next 2 years, I mean, I want to create something where, honestly, I don't have to be in Seattle. I don't have to be in Houston. I don't have to be in Miami. I don't have to be in these places, and they can still be learning and getting put up on game in
yeah,
terms of living a healthier lifestyle or organizing their kitchen. I want to do more events. The pandemic did stop events because people,
okay,
I
yeah,
just thought about it. It stopped events because I used to throw an event, every quarter, once a quarter, like, yo, man, link up with me. We're having a pop up at this spot or that spot. So, I mean, that's the only thing the pandemic changed. But of course, you can pivot and have like virtual events, and people can still do that. So I'm not going to use that as
yeah,
an excuse. But in the next 2 years, man, I definitely want to create a system where people have access to me, but
yeah,
it's like the knowledge and just people who want to be more healthy. And I just want to touch more people. I want to touch more people. I want to impact our community a lot more. We live in food deserts. There are individuals who experience food trauma. You know what I mean? We live in a place where people don't start eating salads until you have to eat salads. which is when you're sick or when you have an illness or when you're in the hospital. And like, I want to break that mindset. I kind of want to make being plant-based cool. Like, I'm a cool dude. I mean, I think I'm pretty cool. But I want to get to the point where it's like plant-based is cool. And I know so many Black people, so many, people of color, if you will, so many women, so many just dope people who are in the plant-based worlds. And if people knew, like, yo, like, we're really cool and we just live this lifestyle. But I also, in saying that, in that very same breath, bro, I want to just know that I'm also a real person. And like, that's not my identity. My identity doesn't lie in being plant-based, right? Like, that's a part of my business, but it's not me. And that's not all that I do. So I also want to branch out and do other things, but I'm going to be able to do those other things because I am the plant-based brother, because someone knows me, because I have a product, a service that has changed the life of someone. And then now they're bringing me backstage and I'm speaking at conferences and encouraging and impacting the lives of individuals.
That is another, well, you didn't say the word, but you basically said the definition of the word. One of my favorite words is leverage. And that's what you were talking about. Leverage, bro, is taking your brand. And I think that process is so beautiful because it takes the middleman out. Because a lot of times we see what we want, and then we feel like, all right, well, I need to get it into, I need to have it in a certain amount of time. So that means that whatever I got to do to have it at that time period, and I'm gonna do it, even if that means like taking funding from a place that doesn't align with your core values,
right?
Or watering down the product to fit into a market that it's probably not designed for to begin with. And so that's, to me, that's one of the biggest like points that I like to make as the corporate dropout.
Yeah.
And that is, take your time, and if you can, take the baby steps to create that leverage for yourself.
Yeah.
And at some point, it'll begin to swing, and then you won't have to slow the momentum down for anybody. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But you got to be patient with the process, and you got to plan it out, and you got to be diligent. Man, once again, silos and conversations that can happen. But I'm gonna keep us on track, man. I know it's been a long day, so I'm gonna keep us on track. The brand of advice. That's probably the most important question that I ask, is your brand of advice. Now, when I say your brand of advice, it's let's put it into context who we're talking to. I want you to think about a young person who may not have been exposed to entrepreneurship, or they have, and they think that it's just this big thing that is unattainable. You got to have a triple MBA, and you got to be, you got to have a 8,000, GMAT, whatever. I don't know. And so they may be discouraged. And so, what would be your brand of advice to encourage them to try entrepreneurship, if that's something that they've ever thought about?
Something that I use, a quote that I use to encourage myself is, God doesn't give us dreams to tease us or to torture us. So if you have that idea, if you have that dream, pray about it. I'm gonna just keep it.
I'm writing this down too, because I'm gonna put this as your brand of advice. I'm writing it down.
Yes.
I'm listening to you.
Okay, for sure. I'm pretty unapologetic about that. Just so pray about it. God doesn't give us dreams to tease us or torture us. So if He placed it in you, pray about it. Like, hey, God, what do you want me to do about that? So that's the first thing I would say to someone who doesn't really know about entrepreneurship. The second thing I would say is make sure that you get a mentor. Mentorship is huge. Every successful person has a mentor. A question that I get asked a lot, believe it or not, how do I find a mentor? I get asked that question a lot. And so how you would go about doing that is just seek on Instagram or Twitter, on LinkedIn, individuals who are doing what it is that you like to do. Maybe they're not doing what it is that you like to do, but maybe they have a good fashion sense, or maybe they have a good business ethic. Maybe they run a trucking business and you want to be a food blogger. Guess what? But they do certain things right. Maybe, they don't have to be in the same lane as you, but make sure you get a mentor. Mentors are going to give you game. They've been where you've been, or they know somebody that has been where you've been. So That would be my second thing that I would tell someone. And I think the third thing is to know that everybody that you see, myself included, Ibrahim, just everybody, all of us are figuring it out as we go. All of us have imposter syndrome. All of us are fearful. So I recognize that you're fearful right now and you don't understand. And maybe no one in your family has ever been an entrepreneur. But guess what? You're gonna break cycles. You're gonna break chains. You can literally change the trajectory of your life through starting something by getting on YouTube University, spending less time on TikTok, Instagram, and getting on YouTube and researching and learning something and just not being afraid to fail. We've all failed. I've failed and you failed before too. But guess what? You know what we all haven't done? We haven't won in something that was the unknown. But we failed. So failure is comfortable, but guess what? We're not really comfortable because we know that God has placed something more inside of us to do more, to be more, to see more. And I'm well aware that the person listening to this may be a worker bee. Maybe you are you're not an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. So you want to work for somebody, you're a worker bee, you want to help somebody reach their goals. Yo, that's cool too. All of us can't be Steve Jobs. All of us can't be, Tristan Walker from Walker and Co. and Bevel. All of us can't be that, but we all can do something. We all have something inside of us. So even if you're not monetizing it, I want you to use those thoughts and those gifts that you have as an outlet to be creative, because the creator of creativity gave us that for a reason. So give it to the world. The world needs what you have.
If I had a mic, I'd drop the shit, man. I'll tell you that. That was dope, bro. Yeah. You killed it, bro. I am excited to come back and look at this again, man. If y'all don't understand what this brother is saying, I can't really help you because you broke it down so clearly. So I'm gonna just leave it alone. But thank you for that.
Yo, for sure.
God doesn't give you dreams to tease you. I like that. All right, so here we are. We're gonna get to the more relaxed portion of
I like that. Yeah.
Talk with my off the cuff questions that you were not prompted for. So you're just gonna have to come with it. And I will say, if I don't have anything that's like just that should make anybody uncomfortable, but feel comfortable to say I don't want to answer that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You probably not gonna ask me anything that I would say that to, man. I'm ready, man. I was born ready.
Okay, all right. Question number 1. Who was the plant-based brother in high school?
Oh man. In high school, the plant-based brother was someone that kind of hung around with everybody. Like I was with the geeks, with the cool kids, with the popular kids.
Yeah.
I like socializing more than school. I did a lot of looking on people's papers. Hey, yo, give me that assignment. I'm not proud of it. I graduated at 3.8. I was incredibly active. I was like, my friends called me a social hoe. And I was in like 10 organizations. Yeah. I was in like 10 organizations. I was Mr. Homecoming, the homecoming kid. So
Me too. You telling me my life story right now. Come on.
Yeah. So I was in the band, and where I'm from the South. I'm from Florida. And other places, they're like, oh, jocks and cheerleaders and football players. Nah, where I'm from, the band kids are the cool kids. Like they the lit ones. So that's who I was. I was in the band. I was super active. High school, I had honors in AP classes. I loved English. I love socializing and networking and talking. I used to get in trouble for talking, and now I get paid to talk.
Boom. Did it, man. Come on now. My life story right here. This guy's telling me my life story right now.
Yes, sir.
They're literally the same thing. One thing that you have to do or have in the morning before you consider your day started.
Oh man, before I can start my day, man, I gotta before I get out the bed, I'm probably gonna pray. I'm just gonna give the Lord thanks. I'm probably on my Bible app. I'm reading the devotional. Like I got crust in my eye. I'm half asleep. And then I can get out the bed and use the bathroom and whatnot. But if I don't do that, I'm just like, whoa, did I even, like, what's going on? So I do that every morning.
Title of the most influential person in your life.
The title. Grandmother and granddaddy. Grandmother and granddaddy. Those are the titles. They were the staples in my family. My grandmother passed pre-COVID, so it's like 2019. My granddaddy passed March 15th of this year, March 14th of this year. And they were just so amazing. And you know, they made my mom, who made me, and they were just always there for me. And I mean, my granddaddy, most people, like, their mom or their grandmother cooked. Like, no, in the family, my grandfather cooked, like, all of the meals, and it was bomb meals, and he cooked for everybody, and it was always made with love. So when I see myself in the kitchen, I see my grandfather, and I know that is an extension of his love, and things are often caught, not taught. So, I'm watching a black man in the kitchen feed his family. I go in the refrigerator and it ain't nothing there. And then he goes and make a 6-course meal. And I'm just like, yo, he has some magical powers.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So those are my grandmother and granddaddy were definitely like titles of the most influential people in my life.
100%. Your spirit animal.
You're gonna laugh, but I'm gonna say a giraffe. A giraffe. A giraffe.
You gotta elaborate, bro. Go ahead. Yeah, you gotta elaborate on that.
Yeah, I said giraffe. The first thing I think about is giraffe has the dopest print. I think they have the dopest print of leopards, cheetahs, tiger. I think they just got the dopest print. The colors brownish, yellow, orange. That's like my vibe. And then, giraffes are tall. They're tall. They do their own thing. They can see everything. They can assess a situation. And that's me. I'm going to a situation. I may talk to everybody, but guess what? I'm assessing. I'm saying, like, okay, I need to connect this person with that person. I'm not as tall as a giraffe, but I can assess. I can have a conversation and say, I need to reach out to this person. And they just dope. Like, who doesn't love a giraffe? They are in warm climates. I literally hate the cold weather. So giraffes are my spirit animals. They're kind of like that hidden gem. You don't know about them unless you're around them. And it's kind of like me. Like, you wouldn't know how dope I am unless you like are connected to me on Instagram or me in real life. So giraffes are my spirit animals.
You know what? You gave me a different perspective on giraffes. I guess I never even paid attention to their print. So I gotta get up on my giraffe game.
I love giraffe. I should have worn my giraffe print hat. You know what I mean? That I have lit.
100%, man. All right, grand finale. When it's all said and done and the dust settles, the plant-based brother described in one word.
Man, when it's all said and done, one word, not even a phrase. Okay, one word. What do I want to be remembered for? Man, that's going. I don't usually get caught up when it's all said and done. See, I'm more of a phrase, like, he lived to be, he helped me, he was impactful, insightful, and relatable. But one word, I would definitely have to go with I'll definitely have to go with maybe impactful.
That's a good one. That's good one. And this is the thing. That's just the most. So we know that sprouts out to other things, but the thing at the top, and I think that's a good one. That's a good high note. Impactful. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a very good high note.
Because I was gonna say influential, but like, you could be an influencer, as we see on social media, but not make an impact. Those people that make impact, it just hits a little bit different. It's like, yo, man, I'm thinking about that as I go to sleep. I'm thinking about this person and the words that he said, or the images that he portrayed, or who he was. Like, I'm thinking about that when I leave that person. So impactful will be my one word.
I'm with it, man. So, all right, you survived the off the cuff questions, bro. I like your answers too. I check off your answers, man.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we are. We're nearing the end, and what I like to do is I want to turn it over to you, and I want you to give the people um like what they need to. Well, before I say that,
Mhm.
before I even go there, I want to ask you, how can we as your community better support you in your movement?
That's a great question. Um, as a community, you can support the movement and what I'm doing um, by, I think, one, having an open mind. Um,
Mm,
and then two, I work with youth. I've been a mentor since I was 13 myself, and I'm still a
yeah,
mentor to this day. So the younger people that are in your lives, just introducing, exposing them to other ways of doing things, other ways of eating, other ways of being healthy. We talk about so many things in our community, hyperactivity with our Black boys, even though we know them to be kinesthetic. We talk about low test scores. We talk about girls getting periods at 6 years old, and things of that sort. And it all comes through the diet. So just exposing our babies, it starts on that macro level, right? Or micro, I don't know. But it starts on that level, just introducing them to those different things, and just or finding people like myself, bro, because you don't know what you don't know, right? So
yeah,
if you've never exposed, so you can't give it to the baby. So I'm a rewind that, but just not giving them a whole bunch of fast food, not letting them sit idly on the game or the internet or watching TV, making sure they do something active. That can start as early as childhood. So my community can support me by being open to seeking out individuals like myself, and just like, hey, I'm thinking about eating less pork, or I'm thinking about going walking every day, or whatever the case may be. I think that would
yeah,
be the greatest thing that people can do to support me. And then like follow, share, tell somebody about me, and being plant-based or being in this health journey or as a coach or what have you is very niche. So it's not going to be for everybody. And everybody has their time and their season that they're coming to their truth, or
yeah,
the truth. Because it's like your truth. And then there's like the truth that doesn't change, which
yeah.
is certain things make us feel really, really bad. And we got to be able to recognize that. So that's what people can do to support me in the movement and the journey, and what I'm doing. So if you're watching this video, share it. Share it with a friend, maybe that has diabetes, maybe that has high blood pressure, maybe that has high cholesterol, and just tell them to reach out to me, and you can go from there.
Y'all heard it. And so there should be no question as to how to support this brother. Now, so then the next question is, how can we get in contact with you? Where? Well, everything. Give us your rundown. Let the people know what they need to know in order to get a hold of you and support you in the way
Yes,
that you
sir. Yes, sir. All right.
that you eat.
Right. Off IG, on Instagram, it's at the plant-based brother. Instead of an ER, it's just A. On Facebook, it's plant-based brother, again with an A. Same on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, check out a few videos. I'm not as active on YouTube, but I'm going to do better. I promise this year I'm going to do better. You can email me at the plant-based brother at gmail.com. And I think that's about it. I'm not that hard to find. You know what I mean? So definitely reach out to me on Instagram. Tell me that you saw me on the Corporate Dropout podcast, the Corporate Dropout show. Tell me you heard me there. And, what I mean? I will have a big smile on my face, because this is amazing, the work that my brother is doing. But yeah. I'm not easy. I'm not that hard to find. So holla at me on social media or email.
Man, Zay, this is as dynamic as I told you it would be.
Yes,
Told
sir.
you.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it from first conversation. I knew it, bro. So I want to thank you for following through, man. I want to thank you for blessing the platform. Like, this was dope. I can't wait to get it edited and put it up so so we can help some people, because I think that this is probably one of the most I'd say beneficial ones this season. You know,
Yes,
in
sir.
terms of because that's our thing. Like the way that we eat is getting us out of there quicker than any gun, any other ethnicity, like anything else. The way that we eat is getting us out of there quicker. So this is very important, bro. To the people who are watching this or will watch this, I want to thank you for tuning in. Understand that this is something that we do and we will continue to do. And we are striving to get the best interviewees. We've done great so far. If you have a suggestion, don't hesitate. Please reach out to me. We're at corporate dropout .univ on Instagram. And that's like my primary. But anyway, with all that being said, man, first and foremost, I want to say, if you call yourself a hustler, secondly, if your hustle motivates, then by all means, you got to check in. And we out. Zay, get with you. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Out of here, man.
Thank you.